ladies and gentlemen, Gary Moore.
Thank you. Hey-o. Hi, everybody. Hello, Bill Wendell. Thanks for coming back. Nice to have you with us on To Tell the Truth. We all know that one of the major problems of the 1970s is crime in the streets. Hardly any metropolitan area doesn't have more than its share of muggings, assault, and other forms of violence. Our first guest is a very brave young detective who is taking an active part in trying to clear that up. He's an exciting person to meet. We'll meet him as soon as we say hello to our panel here on To Tell the Truth.
Bill Cullen. Peggy Pan. Joe Garagiola. And Kitty Carlisle.
Panel, I'd like to ask you, and I'll start with Bill Cullen.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask you just up in the line whether any one of you has ever been mugged or assaulted, crime of any nature on the street. Bill, no?
Nope, I've been
Peggy,
lucky.
have you had any?
Never by a stranger.
Speaking.
Joe?
No, not yet.
And Kitty?
Nope.
Boy, that's 4 out of 4. I never have either. My son was held up in the elevator of his own apartment building. A friend of mine who's just about my age, a woman, was mugged at 5:30 of an afternoon in a nice part of town. And it is a problem. And therefore, let us welcome a New York City police detective who is out to trap muggers.
Number 1. What is your name, please?
My name is Detective Richard Buggy.
Number 2.
My name is Richard Buggy.
Number 3.
My name is Richard Buggy.
Well, amusing as it sounds, let's pay close attention to the story of Detective Richard Buggy. It goes like this. I, Richard Buggy, am a decoy policeman. My job is to wander the streets of New York City, sometimes as a Bowery bum, or perhaps a person on crutches, or would you believe a housewife, complete with shopping bags. I have been punched, clubbed, wrestled to the ground, and whacked on the head with a 2x4. My instructions are not to resist. I can try to run away when the muggers strike, but any fighting back must be done by my 5-man backup team. My backups are not in uniform either. They blend into the local scene in the unlikely guises of pretzel vendors, sanitation sweepers, or street corner Santa Clauses. Over the past 2 years, I have been mugged approximately 100 times. Signed, Detective Richard Buggy. And I hope I never come to it, but if I was going to mug anybody, any one of those is a likely target. And we'll be right back. A New York City detective who disguises himself as a hapless drunk or a helpless old man to attract and eventually catch muggers. And we'll start off with Joe Garagiola, please.
Number 2, how long have you been a decoy policeman? About 2 years. Number 3, what is considered the main street of the section, the Bowery section?
Fulton Street.
Number 2, is there a famous bar or one we recognize if you said go to this bar in the Bowery?
Shaughnessy's.
Number 1, do you carry any weapons at all?
It depends upon the crime itself, the situation.
Number 3, what time of the day do you usually work?
Between 4 in the afternoon and 11 at night.
You got a hockey puck stuck in your mouth.
4 in the afternoon till 11 at night, under the cover of darkness, I presume. And Kitty.
Number 3, I'm sorry. Number 3. Where did you get those clothes?
It's part of my disguise.
But where did you find them?
The police department provided them for me.
I see. They took him from another bum, obviously.
They're Liberace cast-offs.
Number 2, why is it that you're not allowed to fight back? Why does your backup team have to catch the mugger?
It helps in the case for entrapment purposes.
I see. And number 1, what good does it do if you've been mugged over 100 times, and I'm sure they let the muggers go the minute they get to the police station. They never put them in jail for very long, do they?
No, that is not true.
It isn't? Well, tell
They
me.
put them to jail, yes.
They do?
Yes, they do.
And when they come back again?
I'm sorry, Kitty. We're going to go down to Bill Cullen, please.
Number 1, is this your job? Is it for apprehension, or is it as a deterrent that you do it, or a little bit of both? I mean, what's the theory behind your job?
It's to catch the muggers and also to deter them from future mugging possible civilians.
Number 2, at any given time in a city as large as New York, in New York City, how many people, how many policemen are there on the streets, disguised such as you are, for the primary purpose of capturing muggers at any given time?
Well, the decoy unit has 200 men, and I would say about a third of them work at one time.
So, number 3, is it safe to say that anyone going out to mug somebody at this moment, with the knowledge that there are at least 60 policemen in disguise out there, and they might be possibly mugging one of those? Is that a safe assumption?
That's the idea.
No.
Bill, and we're going to go to Peggy, please.
Hey, you're number 3. Why would anybody mug you? I mean, you don't look as though you get a quarter off of you.
Because on the 1st and the 15th, I get my welfare check.
Oh, so they try to bulk you around on the 1st and the 15th. Now, number 1, I certainly don't wish to be indelicate. But, I mean, why would anybody want to assault you either? I mean, it isn't, I mean, Raquel Welch isn't at home crying because you've come on the scene. Do you know what I mean?
No, Peggy, we're talking about mugging and snatching purses.
Well, I mean,
the
I would
other
think you
falls under the head of general recreation.
Keep quiet.
That comes under the park department.
Stop it, no. Number 1, I mean, do you carry would they think you had a lot of money in your purse?
Yes, at times. When I go to the store, I open up my purse.
When going to the store, says number 1. And we've just gotten ourselves a little bell, and we've got a tough choice going over here, but however it may be, we're going to vote for number 1, or for number 2, or for number 3. And as usual, we pay them $50 for each wrong vote. We pay the group $500 if the panel goes down to defeat. Joe Garagiola starts the voting.
Well, I went with number 2 because he used the word entrapment, and that sounds to me like a police department phrase.
All righty, and so you got a 2 showing, and...
Well, we've got a bunch of marvelous actors there. Absolutely extraordinary. I went for number 1 because number 1 seemed to leap to the defense of the police department and the judiciary by saying that they do good and they are put in jail.
A 1 and a 2 and a Bill Cullen.
Strangely enough, I went wholeheartedly. I went for number 1 until I found out she was a policeman in disguise, and I thought I switched to number 3 and stay out of trouble.
So you're going for 3. Well, everybody's got 1 vote. Peggy, you're the tiebreaker.
Well, number 3 said he worked around the Bowery and Fuller Street. I never heard of any Fuller Street down there. I know that area quite well. And number 1, I don't know. I voted for number 2 because he looks as though he might have a few bucks in his pocket. And look at the swell hat and everything. If you don't get anything else, you can wind up with a good hat. And he said entrapment.
So you've got a 2 showing there. Gee, I wonder what you're thinking at home. The votes are in. Will the real Detective Richard Buggy please, sir, stand up? No! Good job. Good job, team. Marvelous. Let's find out who your imposters are, Detective Buggy. Number 2, would you tell us what your name is and what you do, please?
My name is Chris Hart, and my mother is the charming panelist, Kitty Carlisle.
You told me you brought him up to be a nice fellow.
I called you today and I couldn't find you. There's where you were.
Let's go down the line. Number 3, now that we've had our fun, what is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Joe Garagiola Jr.
Joe! A nice-looking fellow you
Joey, say something to me. Take that stuff off.
Hi.
Is that the kid who spiked those?
I want to tell you, I've seen good makeup jobs.
That is fantastic.
Round of applause for Joe Cuervo of the NBC Makeup Channel.
I don't believe it.
After all the time and the trouble that not only Joe Cuervo, but Chris and young Joe have gone to make themselves up, we'd like to have a split screen here, a picture of Chris, so you'll know what he looks like. And we don't have our monitors working out here. We got a split screen of Chris, and there is what he looks like in real life. There's a nice-looking fella.
What a makeup job.
And now, having done that, let's do the same thing for Joe Garagiola Jr. Let's take the picture of him now on a split screen.
Yeah, that's my kid. That's
And we do not want to divert attention from the man really who's in charge of this whole spot, Detective Buggy. Let me see what you look like on your day off. We'll have them all back a little later without the disguise. Gentlemen, nifty job.
cannot
Thank you,
get
Detective
over
Buggy.
I can't get over
Joe,
it.
take care of yourself. By the way, Detective Richard Buggy cannot receive his prize. Or should I say cannot, does not want to accept his prize money. He would like to donate it to the Police Widows and Orphans Fund, and of course, we'll follow his request. We'll be right back. Even though we did show you snapshots of what Detective Buggy and his 2 imposters look like, we think it's only fair that they come out in person without their makeup. First, let's welcome Detective Buggy without his makeup on. And now, Christopher Hart, Kitty Carlisle's son. Let's see where he was. There he goes. Come up here. All right, stand over here, and we want to see what the young law student looks like. Joe Garagiola Jr. He comes out here. Joe, come down here. Joe, come on down here and say hello to your friends here. I want to tell you, Detective Buggy and I'll be friends, but I want to tell you the security that went on around the studio you wouldn't believe. How long, Joe, were you in makeup?
About from 11:30 on.
From 11:30, so you were in makeup about 3 hours to get all that stuff put on.
But you really acted good.
I don't know if that does anything for me or not.
My father works.
Thank you.
It's really
Your
good.
mom called you this morning in Boston, couldn't get hold of you. And of course, you were in our makeup department here, right? How many hours do you in makeup?
From 11:30.
From 11:30 at the same time? You know, he looks so much like his dad.
Yes.
Looks very much like Moss. Well, friends, we got to knock it off. This has been one of the most joyful shows I've ever had anything to do with. Take care, everybody.
Our simple characters today will receive the Wearing Air Freshener. It makes the air you breathe a little nicer without extra vapor. Wearing fills the room with a fresh, clean scent. Promotional consideration provided by Best Western Motel, the nation's largest chain of 1,250 fine owner-operated motels in 900 cities throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico.